Hello and welcome to the Let It Ride podcast, coming at you to preview week 5 in the NFL, which kicks off in about 14 hours. Coming at you a lot earlier than normal because I absolutely had to get a play in my top 5 picks on Thursday Night Football this week. Absolutely love a player prop on Thursday Night Football. So came off of a 24-hour shift at work, recorded from the car because I didn't want to go inside and wake up my family because as well as I think my picks are going to do this week, I don't think it's going to be quite enough to afford the divorce attorney I'm going to need if I go inside and wake up my wife. So, recording from the car, fresh off of a 24-hour shift for the NBA YoungBoy concert, but had to get this podcast recorded early so that you guys could get on this prop bet that I have for Thursday Night Football. Want you guys to ride with me and make some money. Absolutely love this play. It's my favorite bet of the year so far in the NFL. You never hear me say that. You never hear me gas up my picks in this way. You never hear me talk about smash spots and locks. I always talk about things sensibly, but I absolutely love this play. So had to get it out to you. Back to last week, really quick, just to recap, 3-3 on my picks. Gave out a loser in the Dublin game. The Vikings not taking care of business for me. 3 things I didn't account for. Number 1 was the injuries on the Viking offensive line. Number 2 was Carson Wentz turning into a pumpkin. Number 3 was apparently Dublin is Pittsburgh, Europe. Didn't know that. Absolutely loaded with Steelers fans. Nothing but Steelers fans. It was a de facto home game for the Steelers there in Dublin. So did not factor in those things. Still don't think the Steelers are a very good football team, and we'll touch on that a little bit later on in the podcast. But gave out the loser there. Had a loser on the Raiders. Bears under. Needed that goal line stand from the Raiders at the end and would have gotten us the cash there. Unfortunately, they're unable to do so. Gave out a loser on the Cowboys. Packers under. That was just a wrong pick on my part. I underrated my own quarterback, Dak Prescott, who absolutely played amazing, and maybe overrated that Cowboys defense. I thought the rush defense could be able to slow things down, and they actually did early on in the game, but as the game wore on, just really couldn't get it done. And even with the depleted receiving core, the Packers able to get the job done through the air. We still cannot stop a 3rd and long to save our lives there in Dallas. Did give out 3 winners, though. The teaser of the week winning yet again. That's 3 in a row for the teaser of the week. We teased the Texans and the Chiefs. Both of those teams win in blowout fashion. Didn't even need the teaser points in that one. Also gave out a winner with my best bet of the week. That was the 49ers Jaguars under 47.5. And I hope you tuned into the podcast early last week because it was 47.5 when I gave it out on Thursday. That total dropped to 45.5 later in the week. And if you got that number, you had a loser. So tune into the podcast early so you can get the best of the number when I give out these picks. Also had an easy winner with the Eagles Bucks over. That game flying over the total in that one. So hopefully we have a lot more easy winners on this week's podcast. And I really think we have one with our first game here. It is Thursday Night Football. The Niners taking on the Rams. The Rams an 8.5-point favorite at home. The over-under sitting at 45.5. But we're not going to deal with any of those numbers. This is the first time all season that I've given out one of my top 5 plays on the Thursday night game. It's also the first time all year that one of my top 5 plays has been a player prop, but I absolutely love this player prop. Brian Robinson over 16.5 rushing yards. Number 1, this number is available on FanDuel right now. If you go to DraftKings, it's sitting at 18.5. If you go to Caesars, it's at 20.5. I've seen it as high as 21.5 on other books. So right now, FanDuel not catching up to the market. You can grab that 16.5 number right now. But I think you could grab that 20.5 number and be just fine. You could play escalators on this. 25 plus yards is plus 165. You can go all the way up to 90 plus yards. It's plus 3,900. You don't have to get that crazy. You can get plus 750 on over 50 yards for Brian Robinson Jr. I think he's going to have a huge game in this one. You have all of these injuries to the 49ers wide receivers. So no Ricky Pearsall, no Brock Purdy, no Juwan Jennings. So no starting quarterback. 2 starting wide receivers both out. So that means you're going to see an uptick in Christian McCaffrey's receiving usage. By the way, he's already leading the team in receptions as it is. So if you're using Christian McCaffrey over and over in the passing game, you can't just keep handing him the ball as well. You can't just give Christian McCaffrey 35 touches on short rest. He's already a guy who's prone to injury. He's a player that is vital to the success of this organization. They're not going to give him 30 plus touches on a Thursday night football game. That means Brian Robinson is going to be getting some work in this game. And we only need him to get 16 and a half yards, 17 yards, and we're sitting pretty. I think you see him get at least 10 carries, if not more, in this game. So love him over 16 and a half yards. Love the escalators. Play the 25 plus, play the 40 plus. Put a cup of coffee on the 90 plus if you really want to get crazy at the plus 3,900. You also have blowout potential in this game. The Rams are an 8.5-point favorite. The 49ers are decimated with injuries. They're playing on the road on Thursday. It's very possible they wave the white flag early on in this game. Christian McCaffrey sitting on the bench, and you see Brian Robinson out there just picking up 2-3 yards of carry and running out the clock. Absolutely love this play. It's my first. I think it's the first time I've ever said the word smash spot on this podcast, but I love Brian Robinson over 16 and a half rushing yards. Like I said, it is my best bet of the year. Love it so much that I decided to record a podcast from my car after working a 24-hour shift. So hope you appreciate how much I love this play. Get in on it with me. Like I said, best bet of the year. Moving on to the Texans taking on the Ravens. We have two plays in this game. The Ravens, a 1.5-point underdog at home. The over-under sitting at 40.5. This is a Ravens team that was already absolutely decimated with injuries on the defensive side of the ball, losing their best D tackle for the season. They have injuries in the secondary. And then the creme de la creme of that, you add Lamar Jackson going down. He was carrying this team. This defense has been playing terrible. The offense has been carrying the team. Lamar carries the offense. He goes down, and what are you left with? You're left with Derrick Henry and Cooper Rush. Now, I know a lot of people look at Cooper Rush and say, oh, well, he was 9-5 as a starter. He might be pretty decent. Those wins came with the Dallas Cowboys when they had an absolutely loaded defense. We talk about how bad this Cowboys defense is right now, but 2 years ago when Cooper Rush was playing and winning 9 games for this team, he had DaRon Bland healthy. He had Trevon Diggs pre-injury. He had DeMarion Overshown pre-injury. He had Micah Parsons. He had pieces of this defense that they just don't have anymore. The defense was winning those games. I watched all of those games closely as a Cowboys fan. Cooper Rush is not a good quarterback. He is a viable backup quarterback. He can fill in and get the job done. He's not going to go up against a great Texans defense and get a win. He's going to be turning around, handing it to Derrick Henry 30 times. The Texans are going to stack the box, and I think the Texans are going to win this game with ease. Add to that, Texans games. If you follow me on Twitter, I said this week, we spent all this time breaking down games when you could just play unders in Texans games and fade the Titans and get rich bet in the NFL. Just do those two things. Texans unders, 4-0 this year so far. The Titans, by the way, 3-18 against the spread the last 21 games. That's going to be the next game that we touch on. But as for this game, just don't see how this Ravens offense is going to be any kind of successful. You add to that, this defense is bad. I think the Texans run away with this game. I think it's very similar to that, 26-0 blowout win that they had against the Titans last week. I think the Titans win this game. Think it's going to be a low-scoring game. You see the Ravens try to keep the ball on the ground, make it a rock fight with Derrick Henry. Think you see him get a ton of carries. Cooper Rush throwing, these short little slant routes, not picking up much yardage down the field. He doesn't have the weapons that he had in Dallas. There's no CeeDee Lamb on this Ravens team as much as you might like Zay Flowers. He's not CeeDee Lamb, who Cooper Rush was throwing to in Dallas when he had that 9-5 record. So Texans on the money line, not getting cute. So I gave you the escalators in the first play with Brian Robinson. So I feel comfortable like I can give you a -124 pick, and the plus money that you're going to get on the escalators for Brian Robinson kind of makes up for it. So Texans money line -124 under 40.5. Those are the two plays for this game, and that is going to move us on to the aforementioned Tennessee Titans taking on the Cardinals. The Cardinals, a 7.5-point favorite at home. The over/under sitting at 42.5. And as I said, the Titans 3-18 in their last 21 games against the spread. When this line opened up, it was sitting at -9, and I really thought about taking the Titans. I was like, man, am I really going to open the podcast next week with another bet on the Titans? I think I've taken them twice on the podcast already this year, just trying to get cute because the books are begging you to take them, and yet week after week after week they continue not to cover. They had one cover this year. It was against the Broncos in week 1. They did it by a half point. So not counting on that. I know this Cardinals team has not been impressive. They have injuries at the running back position. We just saw Trey Benson go down the week after we saw James Conner go down. So now you have Michael Carter leading this rushing attack. Another guy that I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, the receiving back there. I think it's going to be just fine. You still have Kyler Murray. You still have Trey McBride. You still have Marvin Harrison Jr. You still have a solid defense. You're going up against the Titans offense that is 31st in yards per game, 31st in passing yards per game, 29th in running yards per game. This is not a good Titans offense, not a good Titans defense. We've seen them get blown up as well. Don't think this is a very good team. The numbers keep showing every week they continue to fail to cover. So you know what? We're going to jump on the bandwagon. The great thing about trends, if you try to fade a trend, you can keep losing and losing and losing and losing. If you ride a trend, you just keep riding it until it ends, and then you're done. You can only lose one time. So jumping on the bandwagon, Cardinals -7.5, fading the Titans, who are 3-18 in their last 21 games against the spread. Last game, Lions taking on the Bengals. The Bengals a 10.5-point underdog at home. The over-under sitting at 49.5. And I said the Titans were the second worst offense in the league. The worst offense in the league belongs to the Cincinnati Bengals. Just over 200 yards per game. This offense is absolutely atrocious. And the offense was supposed to be the calling card for this team under Joe Burrow, but they have an awful offensive line. They have an awful defense. This is a team that has the second worst point differential in the NFL, despite the fact that they've won 2 football games. A -63 point differential in their last 2 weeks, so getting beat by an average of 31.5 points. Enter the Detroit Lions, a team that absolutely loves to blow teams out. This Lions team is an absolute buzzsaw. We saw them have a slow start against Cleveland. They fall behind 7-0. They still come back and blow that team out. They had a slow start. They actually kind of got slowed down on the ground, just 3.8 yards per carry. So their calling card up against a very good Cleveland defense that is number 1 in the league against the run. You're going up against the Cincinnati defense now that is 22nd in the league against the run. So you're going to be able to run the ball against the Bengals like you weren't able to against the Browns last week. This number's sitting at 10.5. Everybody's on the Lions. I don't care. What have we seen from this Bengals team that makes you think they're not going to get blown out? They got blown out by the Vikings. 2 weeks ago, we saw that Vikings team go and lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This Lions team, they keep their foot on the gas. They blow teams out week after week. I think they absolutely blow out the Bengals in this game. This play is public as hell, and I don't care. I'm taking the Lions -10.5 in this game. That is going to move us on to the teaser of the week. Like I said, the teaser of the week has won 3 straight weeks. And actually, if you follow me on Twitter, I gave out a bonus teaser play on Monday Night Football. We got the cash. We teased the Jets to +8.5, and we teased the Broncos down to -1.5. So we got an additional teaser win last week. If you follow me on Twitter, we're going to go for another one here, teasing the Giants up to +8. Yes, they lose Malik Neighbors, their number 1 wide receiver, but I think this offense still gets a huge jolt from rookies Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. You still have Wan'Dale Robinson. You're going to make up against a terrible Saints team that I don't think can beat anybody by more than a touchdown. So getting the +8 with the Giants, getting +8 against Spencer Rattler, absolutely love that. And we're going to tease the Bills down to -2 on Sunday Night Football against the Patriots. Bills are the best team in football. They're not going to lose at home to the Patriots. Getting that down to under a field goal, so love that. So teaser of the week, Bills -2, Giants +8. Top 5 plays of the week, taking the Lions -10.5, taking the Cardinals -7.5, taking the Texans money line against the Ravens -124, taking the under 40.5 in the same game, and my smash spot play of the week, my favorite bet of the week, Thursday Night Football, Brian Robinson over 16.5 yards. That is going to do it for my picks and my podcast. Thank you for listening. I've been up for 26 hours now. I'm going to go home and crash, and I will see you guys next week.